back with another video. So guys, we have a free game on an Epic Store, and if you have missed out the spring sale, so you have a last chance to get all these spring sale deals from the Steam. So without wasting any time, let's get to the video. So free game on Epic Store is Jurassic World Evolution 2. So Jurassic World Evolution 2 is a much anticipated sequel from the Frontier's highly successful Jurassic World Evolutions. The bold new era of the Jurassic World Evolution game franchise builds upon the groundbreaking and immersive 2018 management simulation games, which have to manage all these dinosaurs, building and manage them so they do not break it out and harm the surrounding. What you can say, you are a zoo management, which is from the Jurassic World. So that's particularly free game. And get ready for the mystery games. So mystery games from the Epic Store is back, and it was only for the New Year's event, but now it's on March. I believe they are having some mystery games for the spring season as well. So get ready for that. The new game is coming up from the 5 days from now, and there is a 2 mystery games you're gonna get on the same time. So stay tuned for that. So moving to the next segment, which is our Steam spring sales. If you have not yet bought anything or willing to buy, let's get to it. So the first publisher one, I believe, which is Square's Enix publisher sales. So we have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, 30% off, $3,359, almost like a $34 to $35. Kingdom Hearts, which is 3 and reminded versions, that means all the remastered versions, which is 40% off, $2,399, almost like a $24 to $25. Down Trail from the Final Fantasy XIV, which is an online game. If you're willing to buy it, it's 30% off, $1,763 rupees, and it's almost like $19 to $20. Now comes up the favorite one is the Final Fantasy 16s. Have a great story, 35% off, $2,274, almost like a $23 to $24. You have a Power Wash, where it's a simulations to have a car washing and multiplayers as well. So it's a 30% off, $700, almost like a $9. Near Automata, which is the Game of the Year edition, 60% off, $532, almost like a $6 to $7. Near Replicant is 60% off, $11.99, almost like a $12 to $13. The Strangers of Paradise of Final Fantasy 9, or you can say a Zero versions. So it's a different story than the typical Final Fantasy games, which is quite good. 50% off, $9.99, almost like a $10. So that's a great deal for you if you wanted to buy this Final Fantasy. Dragon Quest 11, which is Echoes, 50% off, $12.49, almost like a $12 to $13. And if you wanted to buy the pixelated versions of the original versions of the Final Fantasy from 1 to 6 bundle, which is 30% off, $2,456, almost like a $25 to $26. The Vision of Mana, which is 35% off, $2,599, almost like a $26. The Crisis Core Final Fantasy 7, which is 50% off, $13.99, almost like a $13 to $14. If you want to buy for the original Final Fantasy 7, which is 60% off, $163, almost like a $2. Final Fantasy 10 and 12, which is 60% off, HD versions, $291, almost like a $3. Final Fantasy 9, which is 60% off, $238, almost like a $2 to $3. Final Fantasy 8 remastered version, which is 60% off, $439, almost like a $4 to $5. Final Fantasy 12, the Zodiac, is 60% off, $11.59, almost like a $12. Final Fantasy 13, which is $207, almost like a $2 and few cents. Final Fantasy 13 2, which is $226, almost like a $2 to $3. Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Returns is 60% off, $226, almost like a $2 to $3. Final Fantasy 15, which is 60% off, $839, almost like a $10. And Just Cause 1, 86% off, 48 rupees, less than a 50 cents or 40 cents. Just Cause 2 is 99, almost like $1 and a few cents. Just Cause 3, 59, almost like 50 to 60 cents or 40 cents. Or even $1. So Just Cause Reloaded version, 79% off, $357, almost like a $4. Outriders, 50% off, $749, almost like a $9. Sleeping Dog Definitive Editions, 85% off, $109, almost like $1 and few cents. So I highly suggest you to get this game. This is the best open world martial art crime single player game. Oh, the fourth Final Fantasy version, we have a Valkyrie Elysium, which is 60% off, $11.99, almost like $230. So moving to the next publisher sale, which is coming out from the Capcom Spring Sales. This is still left. You cannot get these Devil May Cry series from this Resident Evil games, which is Resident Evil 4 Remake, 50% off, $13.09, almost like $14 to $15. And you have the DLC separate ways and a different price. So we have a Resident Evil Village, which is 60% off, $9.59, almost like a $10 to $11. We have a Resident Evil Remake Trilogy, which you can get all the definitive editions from the Resident Evil 2 Remake, Resident Evil 3 Remake, and Resident Evil 4 Gold Edition. So we have a 45% off, $3,134, almost like a $32 to $33. We have a Resident Evil Biohazard and Resident Evil Village Gold Edition, both of them 63% off, $19.60, almost like a $20 to $21. While if you buy individually, so for this game, so Resident Evil Biohazard Gold Edition 61% off, $9.85, almost like a $10 to $11. Resident Evil 3 Remake 75% off, $5.84, almost like a $6 to $7. Resident Evil 2 Deluxe Edition 75% off, $6.24, almost like a $6 to $7. Resident Evil HD versions, which is the original one, the 75% off, $2.99, almost like a $2 to $3. I highly recommend you to get this, the HD versions of the original version of the Resident Evil 4 rather than 4 Remake. If you wanted to experience the original one, is far better, but at least the Resident Evil 4 is the best remake from the Resident Evil. The Resident Evil 5 Gold Edition 75% off, $3.27, almost like a $3 to $4. Resident Evil 6 Complete Pack 75% off, $3.27, almost like a $3 to $4. Resident Evil, the first one, which is $2.99, 75% off, $3 to $4. Resident Evil 0 75% off, $2.99, almost like a $2 to $3. We have a Resident Evil Revelation 75% off, $3.27, almost like a $3 to $4. We have Resident Evil Revelation 2 Deluxe Edition 75% off, $3.27, almost like a $3 to $4. And we have a Resident Evil Origin Bundle 75% off, $5.99, almost like a $6 to $7. Next, coming up from the Capcom game, which is Street Fighter games. So Street Fighter 6 is 50% off, $1.99, almost like a $21 to $22. Street Fighter 5 Champions Edition Season 5 Premium Pass Bundle 50% off, $13.09, almost like a $13 to $14. While you can get the Street Fighter 5 Champions Editions 50% off, $6.54, almost like a $6 to $7. Street Fighter 4 Ultra Edition, which is 87% off, $2.38, almost like a $2 to $3. If you're gonna buy for the Dead Rising games, so Dead Rising Deluxe Edition's remaster version is 20% off, $23.99, almost like a $24. Dead Rising 2 75% off, $2.99, almost like a $3 to $4. Dead Rising Off the Record is 75% off, $3.74, almost like a $3 to $4. Dead Rising 3 Apocalypse Editions is 80% off, $1.99, almost like a $2 and a few cents. Dead Rising 4 is 80% off, it's almost like a $4 to $3.9. Dead Rising Frank's Big Package is 73% off, $7.88, almost like a $9. So now we have a Lost Planet, 77% off, $206, almost like a $2 and a few cents. We have Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3, 70% off, $6.20, almost like a $6 to $7. Exo Primal, 75% off, $9.92, almost like a $10 to $11. We have a Bionic Commando, 68% off, $1.91, almost like a $2 and a few cents. And we have a Bionic Commando Rearmed, 68% off, $1.91, almost like a $2 and a few cents. Remember Me, 80% off, $3.59, almost like a $3 to $4. And we haven't got any sequel from this game. This is pretty beautiful game and pretty good concept. Okami HD versions 50% off, $9.95, almost like a $10 to $11. Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite Standard Editions 80% off, $4.99, almost like a $5 to $6. We have Dragon's Dogma Dark Horizon 84% off, $2.87, almost like a $2 to $3. Lost Planet 3 is 80% off, $2.99, almost like a $3 to $4. Onimusha 50% off, $7.49, almost like a $9. It has a remastered version is upcoming, so I believe if you want to buy, then buy, or otherwise just wait for the remastered versions. And then there will be improved graphics and the gameplay mechanics as well. The next spring sale is coming up from the 505 games. So we have Death Stranding 50% off, $12.49, almost like a $12 to $13. Brothers, A Tales of a Two Son is 50% off $6.49, almost like a $6 to $7, and it's coming up from the Assetto Corsa, which is Compete Zone, 70% off $8.39, almost like a $10. Assetto Corsa EVO, 20% off $115.91, almost like $16 to $17. Assetto Corsa, the first version, which is 2020 rupees, 75% off $2 and few cents. Then we have a new other games, which is the fast-paced action FPS and reflexes, which is Ghostrunner, 70% off $6.29, almost like $6 to $7. If you're gonna buy the Ghostrunner 2, 75% off $6.49, the same prices, which is $6 to $7. While if you're gonna buy the bundle, we have a 73% off $11.50, almost like a $12 to $13. The next is still on spring sale, which is from the EA. So EA, we have an NFS Heat, 90% off $174, almost like a $2 and few cents. Mass Effect Legendary Editions, which you will get the Mass Effect 1, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 3, which has all the remastered versions and also the graphics enhancements. 90% off $2.99, almost like $3 to $4. Battlefield 1 Revolution, which is 90% off $124, almost like $1 and a few cents. And Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, 90% off $219, almost like a $2 to $3. NFS Unbound, 93 $244, almost like a $2 to $3. Titanfall 2, 90% off $149, almost like a $2. Alice Madness Return, 90% off $59, like a 50 to 60 cents, or even $1. Battlefield 5, 90% off $129, almost like a $1 and a few cents. We have a Z Empire Special Edition, 75% off $224, almost like a $2 to $3. Crisis Warhead, 75% off $249, almost like a $2 to $3. Mirror's Edge, 85% off $179, almost like a $2. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, we have $179 base, 85% off, just about the $2 and a few cents. The Mass Effect, the first one, is 75% off $449, almost like a $4 to $5. The Dragon Age Deluxe Editions from the Origins, which is 80% off $359, almost like a $3 to $4. We have A Way Out, 85% off $224, almost like a $2 to $3. Star Wars Squadron, 90% off $249, almost like a $2 to $3. Unravel, 80% off $239, almost like a $2 to $3. Battlefront from the Star Wars, which is 80% off for $499, almost like a $5 to $6. Is Battlefront 2. Battlefront 1 with 75% off $249, almost like a $2 to $3. Mass Effect 3, which is N7 Definitive Editions, which is $449, almost like a $4 to $5. Dead Space 3 is 80% off $199, almost like a $2 and a few cents. The next Dead Space Remake, which is 75% off $749, almost like a $9. Jedi Survivor from the Star Wars, which is 75% off $874, almost like a $10. Wild Hearts is coming up from the 85% off $524, is almost like a $5 to $6. Battlefield 5, which is 95% off. So these are the deals from the Steam's spring sales from the Capcom, Square Enix, and 505 Games. And also you have the Jurassic Park Evolution 2 free on the Epic stores, and stay tuned for the mystery games from the Epic store coming up in the next week, I believe, and you get the 2 free games, so stay tuned for that. So that's it from my side. I'll bring back new videos and updates regarding the games. So I'll meet you in the next video. Till then, keep gaming. Nabkaso. I'm out.
Yeah, boy.